I'm an extremist. I believe these things because I was a waitress. First of all, if you're a communist, you are definitionally a political extremist. I don't know why anyone would argue against that. Like, even communists say that. For two, this line goes hard. For three, you really, like, what do you want? You want, like, the left to win in this country by, like, convincing America that communism is a good thing? No, you idiot. You need a social democrat or maybe a socialist wrapping themselves in the flag, talking about how, you know, American values like individualism are being crushed by corporate oligarchy. You know, you can't. I don't. It's again. It's just a virtue signaling thing. Yeah, the only way these motherfuckers want us to get even a hair leftward in this country is if a person's waving the Soviet flag. Now, there's some people being pissy about it. Yeah, she said at the rally, or she said a version of it.
You know, Fox News and the right wing will have you believe that these American values are something out of the Communist Manifesto. That we believe these things because we went to college and read them in a book somewhere. But let me tell you, Fox News, I don't believe these things. I don't believe in healthcare, labor, and human dignity because I'm a Marxist. I believe it because I was a waitress. Because I scrubbed toilets with my mom to go to school.
This is, by the way, like, this is literally like on the book leftist messaging. The idea that your prioritization of leftist values and leftist political thought isn't some abstract like book reading or whatever, but just a consequence of engagement with the real world as a worker. Like, yeah, it's just like, it's literally like picture perfect representation of how you should be framing this. What do you want her to do? She go up there and she's like, now everyone has to read the Communist Manifesto. I saw Hassan getting a little pissy about this, which I don't know, I guess you can sort of expect because he does play into the virtue signaling bit a little bit when it comes to left-leaning messaging. It wasn't too much. It wasn't too much. What was it? What did I see? I don't think reading the Communist Manifesto makes you an extremist. It's very good and simple to understand. Everyone should read it. Yeah, you know, it's kind of like a vague tweet, but nothing but the highest IQ responses here. Hassan's terrible at rhetoric? No, he's not. I just think, you know, you have to focus on the point that's being made. The point from AOC is not nobody should read the Communist Manifesto. That's obviously not the point of what she's saying. The point of what she's saying is, like, you can arrive at supporting these positions. You can arrive at these values just by experiencing what life is like as a working class American. Hassan's rhetoric is clearly directed at people who already identify as leftists. AOC is speaking to regular voters. Yeah, but the problem is, okay, you know how the most effective neo-Nazis don't lambast Trump when Trump says stuff like, we support equal opportunity, not equity? Like, America is a great place for all as long as you're legal. But rather, they support all of the explicitly reactionary stuff the administration does. You know how it's good for us when people like Nick Fuentes separate themselves from the broader MAGA coalition by saying, like, well, he's not Hitlerite enough or whatever? They're most effective when they fall in line. That's what I'm saying, basically. You want to have like a popular front because you really, really, really don't want to inflame a narrative that AOC is like a disingenuous, backstabbing shitlib who's actually like principally anti-leftist or whatever, because there are a lot of lefties who already think that. I'm not saying that you can't criticize. I'm saying, like, you have to understand what angle they're pushing for, understand the way they're approaching people, and try to follow in with that. You know, don't engage in like this reflexive contrarianism where you try to like distinguish yourself as the more lefty type or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. I hope this keeps working, man. AOC has been really destroy the gulag in your head. Yeah, and no, AOC has been doing quite a good job. About 2/3 of Democrats have a favorable opinion of Ocasio-Cortez, and just 5% view her unfavorably. That's very impressive. Among all adults, about 4 in 10 had a negative view of Ocasio-Cortez, while about 3 in 10 had a positive view. That makes sense to me, because where do you hear about AOC? That's right, from Fox News. The right wing is the one that talks about her, not the left wing. If you watch MSNBC, NBC, CNN, you know, ABC, how often does AOC come up? Not too often. You watch Fox News, you hear about her all the time. Every right-winger is anti-AOC. And so far, you know, her reach has been mostly limited to her district and the left. So this is an opportunity for her to spread her wings a bit, try to reach out to a broader constituency. They interview her quite a bit on MSNBC nowadays. There has been a bit of a shift. I mean, how many representatives on the Democrat side are even doing anything, right? Like, genuinely, like, if you want to bring people on and talk with them and ask them, like, you know, what's up? What are you doing? Anything interesting you want to talk about? There's not that many of them actually doing anything on both sides, to be fair. I think a lot of Republican reps, even Republican senators, are starting to recognize the fact that they're kind of useless now. You get that feeling? The whole unitary executive theory, I mean, what's the value of even a Republican rep or senator? Every once in a while you get to push through a bill, but for the most part, like, the spotlight's off of you. Yeah, I saw she was on NPR recently.
If I had to pick one word, it would be resolved.
It's not shocked or dismayed or anything like that at this moment?
I mean, in
on
this
the defensive?
moment, I think we've moved through shock. I think we've moved through dismay. I think we've moved through the 5 stages of grief. I think we've moved through that defensiveness. But it is, I think, a rapidly evolving situation. And I would say this week, especially in the light of last night's budget vote, the moment right now today is resolve.
We're talking.
You said before that she'd be a terrible idea for president. Do you think you're starting to change the position? No, not yet. No. For a senator, sure. For a president, she's too young, and she's a woman, and that will bother a lot of people. I don't know. We might get like a punished AOC sometime in the future. Like, she's got a deep scar running down the eye and she's got a more gravelly voice, but she's kind of, you know, double caught here because not only is she a young woman, she's like quite young looking and sounding for the age that she already is. You know what I mean? Like, she literally has a cartoon face. When she smiles, it's all front teeth and red rosy cheeks, and she has like a, you know, like a boisterous high-pitched voice. None of these are insults. I think that she's delightful, but a lot of voters are sexist.
Here on a Wednesday, the night before there was this budget vote, every single Democrat voted no. Mm-hmm. Do you consider that an accomplishment, that your party was united, even if it was united?
This was before Schumer backstabbed everyone and pushed for the Democratic Senate to vote yes.
In a no.
Yes. I mean, of course, if we were not united in yesterday's vote, I think we would be in far, far, far deeper trouble. But the fact that there is this much unity is important. It is, I think, a baseline prerequisite for the moment to come and the fight over Medicaid, Medicare, and frankly, huge swaths of the American economy.
Do you assume that Republicans...
I don't buy the sexist argument. Mexico elected Sheinbaum. Yeah, okay, but here, hold on. I'm again, none of this should be construed on my end as an argument against AOC. I'm talking about public perception. Sheinbaum looks way more like a national leader than AOC does. She's older and has a much more serious face. Also, I'm not saying that there aren't sexists in Mexico, but America, we have a very specific conception of what our president looks like. That's what, when people say, like, is so-and-so presidential, this is what they mean. Now, obviously, that's a very racially and gender-biased perception. Again, I'm not validating or affirming any of these biases. I'm only saying that they reflect in how people vote. Don't you think it's not a coincidence that there is a very strong tendency, since television was invented, for the taller candidate to win the presidential election? In fact, candidates that are taller than their opponents are perceived as more popular, rated by experts as greater, more leadership communication skills, received more popular votes, although they were not significantly more likely to win the actual election. So they're more likely to win popular votes, but not the election. I guess that's the Electoral College for you. Taller presidents were more likely to be reelected. Well, it's complicated.
Republicans are going to give you the issues that are going to allow you to come back.
And Donald Trump said, do not solve this problem as long as
Bosh Mexican men are extremely sexist too. Listen, I can't make you who you aren't, okay? You're either a person who listens or a person who doesn't. You can argue against the position that I have, or you can futilely shadow box in the corner, all right? I've already teleported behind you. My katana is drawn, okay? I'm just saying, like, understand who you're up against.
is broken, then